what's up guys? It's Sam from Harkey Fishing, and we're in the shop again today. And today I thought, you know what, we have never done a video on making our own custom baits. And when I say custom baits, we have a lot of help. If you've never looked into Do It Molds, Do It Molds got some great applications for just about every bait that's out there. They have a mold for it, and I pretty much use quite a few of their lead-based molds. And today I want to go through some quick instructions on kind of what we're making. And we're going to make two different baits today, one of which is the Midwest Finesse jig mold. That mold number is, let me show it to you here. Well, the model number is MFJ-6-A, Midwest Finesse jig, the Ned rig. I mean, it's a fish catching dude, and they're easy to make. And I want to show you a couple modifications we do on this, and let you know kind of how we make it the way we make it. So let's get started. All right, guys, so the first thing I want to show you is how we modify some of these. When you first get this, it's going to say use Do It wire form WB400. We actually don't use those. We just use super glue instead of the little hook you see right here. We do not put those in there. Now, those work great if you're using regular plastic Ned rigs. We use a lot of the Elastec, and Elastecs do not handle those well. So we leave those off, and then we super glue the Elastec, you know, just straight up here to the head. Put a dot of super glue up here. When you push that Elastec on, it's gonna stick in there good. But one thing you'll probably notice right off the bat is this little groove that we've put in here. And that is super important for putting a weed guard. You take that triangle file, and if you'll put that right here, you can see the little groove we've made. Get it straight up and down, right at the top. The key point is starting that groove right here. You don't want it down here because then your bait's gonna be in the way. So start it right up here by the hook, and you're just gonna place that little file in that groove and file back and forth until you get that groove made. And that's gonna give you the ability to add a wire form. And these wires, there's several places you can get them. Actually, Do It Mold doesn't have them. I can't remember if I got these from Catch-All Tackle or which one, but they're great. They're a little wire form, and they're going to fit right in that groove. And then you can use your choice of hook. I prefer owner hooks, and the owner hooks are going to go right in here as well. So we're going to put a hook in there first, and then get that wire form straightened up. So we got our hook in there. Get our wire form straight here. So it's kind of challenging one-handed to video and do this. There we go. So we're good to go right now. Now we're going to close the mold, and we're going to pour the lead in it. So watch this. Okay, so it's time to go ahead and pour the lead in here. What we're going to do is we're going to take our melted lead here, and we're going to get it over here. We're going to pour it in this form. It's pretty simple. We pour that form top. I poured a little too much, but anyhow, you're going to see the final results here in just a second. We're going to open this up. And there we have it. We've got our little mold. So we're going to take a pair of pliers and grab this by the top. We're going to pop it out of there. So we've got our little mold here. Now this lead is hot, so be careful, don't burn it. When you bend that just a couple times, there you have it. We've got our 1/4 ounce mold. There's a little extra lead right there that just poured because we didn't have it shut complete. We've got it with a weed guard, and so we're ready to go. We're ready to go to painting with that. That's a 1/4 ounce. I prefer the 1/8 ounce, but we pour some quarters too in case I need them on a windy day. And that weed guard obviously needs shortened, so we can take the wire pliers while we're at it and shorten that. And of course that's bendable. I'm going to bend that up just a little bit to get myself the right angle on it. And man, there you go. It's just as easy as that. We've got a Ned rig made. So there you have it. Okay guys, so we've got our little Ned head jig here, and we are using the Protect powder paint. A couple things we're going to need to do on it. We're going to need to warm it up in this fire, and usually the smaller the bait is, the less time it needs. It doesn't take long. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in there, and we're going to rotate it a little bit, warm it up. That's plenty. We're going to dip it in the powder paint, and when you do, that thing just turns out shiny as can be, and you've got a nice painted jig head there. So the next thing we'll do is we're going to hang it right down here on our drying rack and let that thing dry, and then we're done. Okay. Alrighty guys, so the next mold we're going to make is what I use for my swim bait molds. This is a ball head with screw lock mold, and you can use the same exact hook that you use on the Ned rig ones that we are including in this video. And I do use those for my smaller, like for my 1/8 ounce and 1/4 ounce heads, and even 3/16 ounce heads. But I like the Eagle Claw Little Nasty. This is a 4/0 hook, so pretty good size hook, and I even go up to 5/0 occasionally and do 5/16. I'll even sometimes pour it on the 1/4 ounce, but for the most part 5/16 baits. We also want to add that little weed guard on this. You'll see I've already kind of grooved that area, so we want to make sure we put that in there. And then one of the secrets to our swim bait success and just getting some longevity out of your swim bait is this screw lock. Man, that screw lock makes life a whole lot better. You know, you can screw that swim bait on there and it hangs on, and you can use the same swim bait for a long period of time. I mean 20, 30 fish a lot of times. So we got that put together. We're gonna pour it and see how it turns out. All right, so we've got the bait set up. We're gonna go ahead and close our mold up. We want to make sure that that's matching together. There's not big gaps in it. That'll keep you from having overflow on that lead. So we're going to get our lead pot here, and we are going to pour that in the hole. There we go. Once again, we're going to open it up, make sure our finished product looks right. There we have it. We're going to go ahead and break that extra lead off. And there we have it. So there we have a ball-headed mold with a screw lock on it, so we can lock our swim baits in. I use this for the 4 and 5 inch swim baits. I'll use that smaller one with the smaller owner hooks on my 2.5 to 3.5 inch swim baits. But this one's got a little meatier hook. I can put a 5 inch swim bait on there and swim that just fine. So there you have it. Now, as far as painting these guys, we're going to show you painting the Ned rigs. On the swim baits, I actually don't paint them. I kind of like the lead head. When that lead dulls just a little bit, it actually is a grayish color, kind of like a shad. And some people like them painted white, but I think the white stands out too much. I kind of like leaving them gray. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of red, like a red eyeball painted on there with some fingernail polish or something, and put some red gills on the swim bait. But otherwise, that's really the setup that I use the majority of the time. I love that Little Nasty hook. I mean, if you've never heard of a Little Nasty, it's got a cool little bend to it that just seems, once you get a fish buttoned up on that, I mean, they don't come unbuttoned. And very fine wired hook, so it hooks them easy and keeps them hung in there. Hey guys, quick little bonus footage. Do It makes lots of molds, and this is a poison head mold, jig mold, and show you real quick just how to assemble that. First thing we're going to do, we've got the thing poured, we've got it colored. You've seen the video on how to do that. We're going to put a little bit of crazy glue down in here, just like that, and then we're going to take a brush guard that'll match it, and we're going to put that brush guard right in that little hole. There you have it. We got the brush guard installed. Next is the skirt. Check this out. Okay guys, so the next thing we want to do is put the skirt on the jig. You need a little skirt collar, basically just a little old donut. They make these that have rattle bands on them too. If you'd like to add rattles, this is just a basic one. And so you feed this on this little skirt tool, and man, you've got to have a skirt tool if you're going to do this. And so scoot that little O-ring down the tube of this. On the other end, you see it's got a little hook. Now today I want to make a green with some purple in it. For those of you guys that keep up with our videos, honestly, I'd rather use a chomper's jig than anything. But what we're going to do here is show you how to put a skirt on. So I love these little pre-made silicone skirts. They're solid on the ends here, strands in the middle. So I'll do a green, and then a purple, and then another green. So that gives me basically a 30 strand count jig. It's pretty heavy strands. If you've watched our jig videos, you've seen us adapt those and thin them out in certain situations. And so once you get those three put together like that and sandwiched together, take the little hook end here, and you're just going to push it through that solid side. And then you need to help it just a little bit. You're going to kind of help feed these up into this tube. And so you're pulling on this end, and you've helped this other end, and now we're just going to pull those up in the tube like that. Once you get them pulled all the way, slide this collar off there. Okay, and then you're going to unhook that little part. I usually do go ahead and slide this down just a little bit further, maybe a couple turns. I don't want it necessarily in the middle. I like about 1/3 and 2/3. So once you have that done, you're going to take your jig. Make sure the long side of this, like I said, that's not in the middle. Let me scoot it back a little. It's about 1/3 of the way. So the long side goes on the hook first, because it's going to have to bend around and come back to make your skirt. So we're going to run that right into there. Come on in there, and we're going to feed that onto there. So we got that. Now we're going to grab our scissors and trim this up and show you what we got. All right, guys, so we got that. We got the skirt pushed back up here on the head of this jig just like we need it. As you can see, it's still got these bottoms on it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our scissors and basically start trimming off those ends and getting it to where it's just those strands hanging down. See if I can get this working. Get those all trimmed off there. Starting to look more like a jig. So we've got that jig now where we've got all these strands on it. Everything looks really good on that. Nice, kind of watermelon candy color with a little bit of extra purple. As far as the ends, you can, from a factory, they'd cut those very, very straight across there where it looks very homogeneous. If you've watched our jig fishing videos, I hate homogeneous. So I usually come in here and really kind of ruffle this stuff up, try to get this thing where it looks real mottled and, kind of unusual, maybe injured, crippled. I don't even know what you would word it as. I just like it to flare a little bit better. And so I'll change the lengths up of those strands of skirt material quite a bit. So there we have it. We've got our finished poison head jig, and it looks pretty good. Ready to catch some fish. So for Harkey Fishing, we'll see ya.
She